Hello and welcome to episode 177 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find him on Twitter at AndrewRLP. Joining me as always is the stupendous League Freak, who you can find on Twitter at League Freak. How you going there, mate?
Hello, Andrew. I'm very good. How are you?
Not too bad. Let's just recap, shall we, how this episode's come about.
Well, the
We
intro's
started
been longer than the preparation.
Yes. I opened up Skype conversation. He said, let's just do a quick episode. It's almost 1 a.m. I'm like, okay, fuck it. And so here we are, people.
And it's going to be about the big news of the day.
Yeah. We have made it clear that this will be a quick episode, so strap your ears in for a quick 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the big news that's come out today is that the 2020 Kangaroo Tour to the UK has been cancelled, not surprisingly. Yeah. But an option of rebooting it in 2022 is being looked into.
Yeah, it's not really surprising at all, especially with the numbers that they've still got over there with COVID-19. Like, they're still getting, like, in the hundreds each day of people getting found to have it. And they're going to have a much longer period of time that they're having to deal with lockdowns and people getting infected and all that sort of thing. So I think it was the right decision. I'm surprised that they didn't announce this about a month and a half ago, to be honest. Like, what do you think took them so long?
I wonder if maybe they were just hanging around waiting to see if the Super League were going to make an announcement as to when the season was going to come back. And I think some of the news over there was that their government is open to having sports resume, much like we have here. But, yeah, they're in a situation where we were kind of March-ish.
Yeah, so, and then, even then, I mean, we never had hundreds of cases. Like, I think we just ticked over 100 and something cases not that long ago. They're getting 400 a day now.
Yeah, they've got triple our population in an area about the size of Victoria or New South Wales or something. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to take them a lot longer to get clear of this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that they'll have the Super League season being finished or rebooted anyway this year. If they do, it's only going to be a really short season. And when I say really short, it might be a dozen games.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they were playing in their winter as well. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if their season finished like in January or something, and then they had a very short off season and then went back into it again in, say, March or something.
Because I reckon they might go through and just we play each team once and then just have a quick top 5 final series and bang, it's done.
Yeah.
And that way they can be open again to a decent sort of off season. Maybe start the next year a little bit later, because their seasons do start really early. So maybe they can start their next season around the same time the NRL starts theirs, which is about almost a month after Super League normally starts.
Yeah,
and then knock a few rounds off the end because they play way too many anyway for next year, and then they can still have that off season available to them, which they're going to need to that longish break because they've got a World Cup next year somehow, apparently still. And then stick with that system for the following year so we can have a Kangaroo Tour.
Yeah, I think that by the World Cup everything will be settled right down. I think if things are still going with COVID-19 by then, like, it would be strange. It would be really strange because Australia won't have it by then. New Zealand won't have it by then. We might not have a United States by then, going by what's going on over there at the moment.
It'll be burnt to the ground.
Yeah. There won't be anything left. There'll just be water between Canada and Mexico. But yeah, I think the World Cup will be fine. I think it would be prudent for them to have some backup plans in place, though, for the World Cup. But for this Ashes series, I mean, I don't know about you. I wasn't really excited about it. Were you excited about it at all?
No, I was more excited about there being a tour.
Yeah.
I am. Well, I may not have been excited about it. I was obviously keen to have the the Ashes series return.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that they should never have got rid of, because I have this belief, and I'm happy to be proven wrong, but if you keep playing against, the absolute best in the world as often as you can, then the weaker of the two teams will come up in standard.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a correlation between when Australia and England stopped having kangaroos, they stopped having tours to one another, and a rapid decline in the quality of football being played in the UK compared to Australia. Because you think the last kangaroo tour was 94. Yeah. You think how good that fucking Wigan side was in 93, 94. They were better than nearly every Australian team.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. How many teams have they had in the UK since that Wigan team in 94 that you can say are even NRL standard since then? And I'm talking, we're going back to 94 here.
Yeah, like not many would. I don't think any of them would make the finals, quite honestly, for our final series if they play the whole season. I tend to think that, like, the way I see it is the standard of rugby league just has not improved over there for a very long time. And I think even now, you look at Super League now, and it's still not great. Like, it's still pretty poor standard. And like, they've got so many problems over there right now in terms of where they want the competition to be. They're talking about changing competition structures, who should be in it, what should be the goal, like the aim of Super League, what should it be? And I think the problem that they have at the moment is that they've made so many changes over the last, say, 10 years and have reverted back, and a lot of it hasn't worked. And, like, where do you go from here with Super League? I know for me personally with the Kangaroo Tour, I have zero interest in seeing the Kangaroos or an Australian team of any sort playing any of their club sides. I understand that the club teams get excited about it, but I don't think anyone else does. And like
in the past, it was good because the standard of the UK clubs were good enough to be competitive. Like, they might have got beaten by 30 odd points, but a 30-point loss isn't the thrashing that they get now. I can't see anyone like Castleford being within 30 points of the Australian team.
No.
It'd be, even the Australian B team would put 40, 50 points easy on any club team over there.
Yeah.
And that's the worry. And I can't see how one-off random game where Australia just comes along and beats the living shit out of them and just leaves. I can't see how that helps anybody. It's odd. It's really odd. I
agree with that. But like, them individual clubs love it. And the other weird thing for me too is, how do you pick those clubs? Like, do you just keep putting money into the coffers of the richer clubs over there and give them the gate takings and all of that? I find that unfair. If it was something you earned, if it was like the top two teams in Super League or the grand finalists or something, that would make sense. But I can see where Super League would say, like, oh, we don't want a situation where Australia's playing the Catalan Dragons and, I don't know, whoever, Castleford. They want them playing other teams. And we know the teams don't want them to play. They want them to play a St Helens or a Wigan or a Leeds.
Yeah. Or all three if they can have their way.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. My idea is, if you have a tour these days, then you're going on a tour to play solely against rep teams.
Yeah.
And when I say rep teams, you're going to play against other countries. Mm-hmm. So I would have, if I was having Australia going on a tour of Europe, I'd have them going over there. They play the 3 tests against Great Britain or England, whatever they choose to be. One against Wales, one against Scotland, one against Ireland, and then play 2 tests against France. Maybe play a game somewhere else in Europe, Italy or Greece or someone like that. Some other team that's in the World Cup, maybe Greece.
Yeah.
And that's like 9 games. You can play that over 7 weeks or something like that, or 6 weeks, and then come home.
Well, the way I would do it is I would play a game against France first up. I'd end up playing 2 games against France. So I'd play a game against France, and that would be almost the warm-up game for Europe. And then I'd go across to the UK. I'd play the 3 test series against England or Great Britain, whoever they decide to name. And then I'd play France again. So that's 5 tests. And then I'd look to play, a test against Italy or, as you say, Greece, somewhere like that, where it's something a bit different to end the Kangaroo Tour for the players. And to me, that is way more interesting than them playing a 3-test series against England or Great Britain and then playing club sides in between them. Because as you say, it's just a different world. I just think that, we can look back at misty eyes and say, oh, that was wonderful. And you've got to say who's it wonderful for and who was at those games. Like, are we talking about people that are now in their 50s and 60s that would love to see that happen? Because I think most people that you try and market the game at, like teenagers and people in their 20s and stuff like that, I think they would find it interesting, but I don't think they'd get all that excited about it. And we've also got to look to maximise the use of the Kangaroos as well. Like, if you've got 5 or 6 games that the Australian team is willing to play at the end of the year, you've got to spread them out as much as you possibly can to get the biggest benefit for that game overall. So that's the way I look at it anyway.
No, I think it's exactly right, and that's what they've got to try and do. Is the northern sides need to see the Kangaroos playing them as, like winning the fucking lottery.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is, and that's how it needs to be treated. I'd even consider, if you're going to do a tour and you want to make it worthwhile, when Australia returns to Southern Hemisphere, they can play against some of the Pacific nations as well. 1 or 2 tests against the PNG, then you got Cook Islands, Samoa, Tonga. Yeah, you don't need to play New Zealand every time, but you can chuck one in there if you want. At least you're getting a dozen or so games out of it that way. And they've toured around the world. They've gone and actually done a pretty decent tour.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about international rugby league right now. I mean, as Australians, and you and me are Australians, like the teams that I want to see Australia play right now, in order, would probably be Tonga and then Fiji, because I think if Fiji hooks things up, they're a bloody good team. Then PNG, and then after that, it's probably between Samoa and New Zealand. And the only reason I put them in the same sort of basket is because they're both as, up and down as each other. They can both play really, really well, and they can both play really, really poorly. There's no teams in the Northern Hemisphere I really have any interest in seeing the Kangaroos play outside of France. And the problem is that France is so bad right now, unfortunately, that it's just going to be a thrashing, and I kind of don't want to see that.
No, that's right. We need to... France still has the potential to become a very strong country again, rugby league-wise. But they're just not being... No one's putting any interest in the country outside of France.
No.
And that's the problem.
I'd like to see the NRL go to the French Rugby League and say, we would love you to do a tour almost every year through New Zealand. And you would get to play New Zealand and Tonga and Samoa and all of those teams in New Zealand. And I think that exposure to the Southern Hemisphere Rugby League would... I think France is the sort of nation that they'd actually look at what's going on, and they'd look at their results and they'd say, how can we improve? What are we doing wrong? And they're not going to sort of say, well, we've got to come back the French way. We've got to, look at our own style, which is what Great Britain has done in the past, and it's failed miserably. I think France would actually look at these teams that were beating them and say, okay, they did that. We need to start looking at doing that ourselves. So, and that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see French Rugby League sort of embraced by the Southern Hemisphere more than it has the North, because like being embraced by the Rugby Football League and all that stuff, it's been great for the Catalan Dragons. But I don't think it's done much for French Rugby League internationally anyway.
No, I think the best way to deal with this is to bring France over here for a month in our NRL preseason, and they can play against NRL teams who are, instead of those teams having trials.
Mm.
They can play, recognised games against the French team.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
Because that way the NRL teams are playing a genuine game, but they know they're up against an opposition that isn't at NRL standard, so they can still trial a few young players in there.
Yeah.
The only problem you've got, obviously, is being a pre-season match and it doesn't have any value to the season. It's going to be hard to get clubs to want to put too many stars in there because, with the risk of injury and whatnot. But even still, it'd be a way to sort of help France and sort of ease them into playing the standard that is the bar, and that is, the way it's played in Australia. But that would be a way to work it, and they'd be playing against rusty Australian teams.
Yeah, but they'd still get something out of it, and it would be...
wouldn't be flogging either.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think the floggings don't do anyone any good. I think sometimes they're good if a nation needs a kick up the backside, and that works sometimes. It doesn't work other times. But I think for some of these smaller nations, especially ones that aren't producing the world-class talented players, it's very difficult for them to turn up and just get absolutely flogged and go home, So, I think that would be an interesting thing for them. And I think that they'd be able to send players that were, like, even if it was just a French invitational side or something, they called it whatever they wanted to call it, but just get their players reps against professional players from the Southern Hemisphere. It'd be great for them.
Absolutely. Now, do you think the 2022 tour should go ahead?
I personally think after the World Cup, it's the sort of thing where I think you need to have the World Cup and see how that goes before you make the schedule going forward from there. Because say the World Cup final is between Australia and Tonga wins. Would you rather see an Ashes series or a 3-test series against Tonga?
I'm going to throw out there a more left-wing idea, and I'm going to borrow this from rugby union of all places, because one of the biggest draws on the rugby union calendar is when the British and Irish Lions come to Australia, because they only come around once every 8 years.
Yeah.
Imagine if we took an Australian, a Southern Hemisphere team to tour the UK.
They'd slaughter them though. Oh.
But the thing is, you'd take enough players.
Yeah.
You could probably have a Australian only team.
Yeah.
And a New Zealand only team. Or you could take enough to have, you could take a few others along the way. Have Australasia, or just have, Southern Hemisphere. But while they may slaughter the opposition, at the same time, would they? Because there'd be very few combinations in there.
Well, think about this, and I tweeted about this the other day. Imagine a forward pack that had Jason Taumalolo in it and Kikau in it.
Yeah.
Just those two, just in a normal forward pack. That's a nightmare. I don't know how you handle that. You could have those two in the same team as Haas,
as Graham on the other side of the field.
Yeah, like it would be. Man, that would be crazy. That's kind of exciting to wonder what they do, though, hey?
Yeah. Who would you have as the fullback? You got Tedesco, you got Tom Trbojevic, and you've got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. You've also got Valentine Holmes, who could represent the Cook Islands as well.
Man, I think that it's fullback. Man, this is crazy. What a great idea. I would probably have. It's hard to go past Tedesco at fullback.
Yeah, I agree.
But then I'd have to have RTS in there, so he at the very least goes on the wing, and then I'd probably have Adokar on the other wing. In the centres, who would you go in the centres?
Well, one of the current test centres is Latrell Mitchell.
Well, see, he was the first one I thought of as well.
But seriously, you could put anyone you want there.
Who would be the other centre, do you reckon?
You probably need to put some back rowers there, to be honest.
Why back rowers?
Well, there's going to be. We've already named 3 of them, and we've left out Boyd Cordner as well.
I don't think he'd make my team, hey? I'm serious though. That's how good. Like, you think of some of the forwards that Tonga and Samoa and Fiji have. Like, it's crazy. Can you imagine Damien Cook running off the back of a forward pack that's got Taumalolo and Kikau, Fafita, Trebojevic as the lock, Haas up front. Oh man, it'd be unfair. They could score 80 points against Great Britain.
In a half.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be so cool.
That's the thing. It'd be a one-off draw card thing.
Yeah, I think maybe you're onto something here. See, that excites me.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
There's this thing that they did back in the 80s, and it was a one-off thing only. And it was Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at them, I think it was Oceania versus Europe or something like that. I think it was billed as. I looked at it and went, that's actually a pretty brilliant idea. And at the time, it was brilliant because, the UK was still pretty competitive with Australia.
Yeah.
And New Zealand was a bit better than France.
Mm-hmm.
France had started their decline at this stage.
Yeah.
But you also had PNG coming onto the scene as well. And you had to pick a minimum number of players from each country.
Oh, okay.
It was the only test playing nations involved.
Yeah.
I thought, imagine doing that now. You just have a Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere.
That would be interesting. It would be very one-sided, but it would be an interesting game. I'd like to watch that.
Played in the off-season. Instead of having this All-Stars concept that they, the All-Stars concept they had when they had, NRL All-Stars versus the Indigenous teams.
Yeah.
That was an abomination.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that didn't have any interest for me.
Yeah. What they've got now, I like it. I just don't want them to call it All-Stars.
Yeah, I would rather it be...
properly honour the fact that it's Indigenous.
Yeah.
Call it the Maori versus the Aboriginal side.
Call it the Indigenous Trans-Tasman title or something.
Yeah. Do that. I think All-Stars is just some sort of wanky title you give something to try and make it sound more impressive than it needs to be. I think we need to be honouring the fact that they're Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're playing in the NRL. We know they're stars already.
Yeah, exactly.
It just seems a bit superfluous. So I'd have that, and then also have this Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere game as well on at the same time. And you can use it to trial international rules or something like that if you want.
That'd be cool. Where would you play the Northern versus Southern Hemisphere game, though?
PNG.
Oh, my God.
To be honest, I wouldn't care where. Play anywhere you want. Play in the fucking US.
Hawaii.
Hawaii, why not? Let's tie this back into our first ever episode.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Play it in Hawaii.
Yeah, let's play it in Hawaii. I'll go over there. I'll cover the game. It'll be great.
You'd be the only one who would cover it.
Probably.
Because most of the Aussie journos don't like to leave the comfort of their homes.
Yeah, well, their homes are where the alcohol is.
Careful.
I'm not saying they're alcoholics, but let me do an interpretive dance right now.
Oh wow, people! If you had this conversation on video right now, you'd have your pants off too. My goodness.
Oh shit.
Man, that was some flexibility I didn't think that part of your anatomy could have.
Well, I work hard at it.
Yeah, I can see. Boy. Anyways, How are we going with this quick episode?
It's going really well. It's going very well. How many minutes into it are we?
25.
25. Oh yeah, the 10-minute episode.
Yeah,
Look,
10-minute episode.
I think we talked about what we wanted to talk about though, which is a good thing, and talk a little bit about the Ashes series, bit of international rugby league in there. We've done a little bit of what if, who would be the best team in the world right now and stuff like that. We might do that for an episode coming up. Hey, put together the best team in the world.
I was going to throw together one other idea here, and that is, how come the UK Lions aren't talking about doing a tour over here?
Because I think it's because, number one, Australians, it's hard to sell them coming over here to us because we know they're shit and that their results would be an abomination. And
but you could get them to play against not just NRL teams, get them to go and play against regional teams and help boost country rugby league that way, just like they used to do.
But what if the Burleigh Bears beat them?
Well, they probably will beat them. But it'd be good for the Burleigh Bears though, wouldn't it?
But then why would the Rugby Football League do that?
Who cares what they think? I'm not talking about what the RFL wants. I'm talking about what country rugby league Australia wants.
I know, but I agree with you. Like, I think on their day, look, the Burleigh Bears nearly did it in that oppressive, what was it, 24.7 degrees? Something like
24, yeah.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. So I just think that the Rugby Football League, they don't like to extend themselves at all in any way, and I think that would be extending themselves.
Because, I don't know, I think it would actually be advantageous for the UK team to come out and play against opposition other than the NRL.
You know who I'd like to see them play? I'd like to see England play 3 Test series against Tonga, and I think that then they could just shut up after that series.
No, I think they should come out here.
Yeah.
They could play like 2 or 3 warm-up games against like Group 9, a Central Coast region, not Central, Northern Coast of New South Wales, and a Queensland rep team.
Combined Penrith A grade.
Yeah, well, a Queensland country team, a New South Wales country team. Yeah. That'd be an idea. Play against those 2 country teams as a warm-up, and then play 2 tests against Papua New Guinea. Mm-hmm. I think Papua New Guinea now deserves it after they beat them last time.
Yeah, I do too.
So 2 tests against Papua New Guinea, 2 against... we'll go 2 against Tonga. No, 3 against Tonga. Bugger it. 1 against Samoa, 1 against Fiji. I'll have to play 1 against Cook Islands now.
Say you're Sean Wayne, right? And you sit down in a seat that Wayne Bennett has left nice and warm for you. And you look at what Wayne Bennett did in the last series, and it's like Wayne Bennett takes this team to the Southern Hemisphere, and he hasn't got much to work with, and they lose every single game, and they turn around and they say, "That's your fault, Wayne Bennett," and they sack him. Why would Sean Wayne be even thinking about any of this, though?
Why?
Yeah.
Because he needs to play against his opposition more often to see if he's going to be any chance of beating them.
And I don't think that that's part of their makeup. I think that England / Great Britain would be happy to never play a test outside of their own country for the next probably 8 years or so. And I think they would be happy to smack France around a little bit and hope that every so often New Zealand comes over and just doesn't care anymore like they tend to do when they play against them. And I don't think they really want to test themselves, because when they do get tested, they get smashed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost got me to the point where is England a lost cause?
Great Britain, I get it.
Are they a lost cause? Like, on the rugby league scene, should we stop trying to figure out how to fix Great Britain, and should we just go, you know what? Let's just focus on Papua New Guinea.
Yes.
And let's 100%. Just get Papua New Guinea to do a tour of Australia.
I've been saying this for more years than I care to say. Like, England is not that important in rugby league. They just think they are. I am far more interested in the likes of Samoa, Tonga, France, the Cook Islands, Papua New Guinea, All those teams, Canada, the United States, those teams are exciting. Great Britain isn't. They're just not. What are they going to do? We know what they're going to do. If they come over here, they get smacked. If we go over there, we smack them. Rinse and repeat.
How do we make it more exciting?
They get more Australians into their team. Like their best players last year were Blake Austin.
No, he's British.
Yeah, well, Hebersham ain't part of Britain.
But if it wasn't for the Britons, Havisham wouldn't exist.
Well, it would. It just wouldn't have, white dudes there. It would just be Aboriginal dudes living. The Darug people, I believe, were the ones that occupied the region that Hebersham would be in. And I think they'd still beat Great Britain.
They would, and they wouldn't even have to see a rugby league ball. They'd still do a better job.
Yeah, just explain it to them a bit. All of a sudden, they're throwing flick passes and stuff. It's like, what the fuck, man?
They'd do it easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Oh no, I don't know what they do. I do want UK to be better because it's the first, and for me, it's the easiest market that you can improve.
Yeah.
Because it's the next competition down from the NRL.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's a logical step to go to. If we can make them better, then we can make other places better. The ARL have single-handedly helped New Zealand get better just by having the Warriors in the competition here.
Yeah.
So to me, a future expansion idea, and I'm not talking the next expansion. I'm talking like a decade or so's time.
Yeah.
Is we need to be looking at having a PNG team in the NRL.
I agree, yeah.
Not just at New South Wales Cup level or Queensland Cup or whatever. I'm talking about in the actual elite league.
Mm.
And they need to have a team in there. But we can't do that with France or England. So we need to make England a better competition somehow so we can drag France along and make them better as well. And that's why it's so key for me to make England better, because then France is so close and all of Europe's so close, you can drag them all along with England and get them going better. But I don't know how you get England to that point because they've been going downhill since the 70s.
Yeah.
I don't know how you steer that around and make it successful again. There's so many things that need to be fixed. The TV rights, it's 2020. They still can't get every game live on TV in Super League.
Yeah, and like the list of things they need to change is it's almost overwhelming. Like their junior development system is a shambles. They don't have a minimum wage in Super League. That most of the Super League teams don't stick to the salary cap, allegedly. Like there's so many different things. Their coaching is abysmal. Like the British coaching structure is fucking terrible. And you just go down that list. You keep going and going and going. I don't know where you'd start. I really don't.
Because to me, that's the key. You get that done. Your next step after that is right. If you just, we're talking hypothetically, you go, right, the UK is now back equal with the NRL. Mm-hmm. Next step after that is, right, we need to get the UK to bring France up to UK's level.
Yeah.
Because Australia's pretty much helping to bring Samoa, Fiji, Tonga, all of those up to speed because they've got a whole heap of players playing the NRL. It's no surprise that those countries are all getting so much better and so much more competitive because of the NRL. The English Super League needs to be doing the same thing for Europe, not just for France, not just for England, but, Wales, Scotland, Ireland as well. There's no reason why those 4-5 nations there shouldn't be better. They've been around longer than the Pacific Islands on the rugby league international scene. There's no reason why they shouldn't be better.
And the Pacific Islands, I don't think a lot of people realise how small these nations are that are producing the likes of Jason Taumalolo. They're absolutely tiny. We got suburbs in Sydney that would be bigger than a lot of these Pacific Islands nations. So it's incredible the talent that they produce. I have been personally of the opinion for many, many years that I think that France are more likely to improve and be able to really properly compete with Australia than Great Britain will be. Because I think that in France they just have a different outlook on sport, improving in sport. I think they'd be more likely to have a look at their junior development pathways and things like that, and really push the levels of their elite players. But it's difficult for them to do because they've just got to be better than England in Super League. I'm talking about now, and that's with only having one French team in Super League. They've only got to have that focus to be better than the other Super League teams, where I think once you've got a few French teams in there, then you're starting to get a bit of a collective together. And you can take the best of that collective and then look to take them to a new level.
Here's another question, I guess, is if Toulouse makes it into the Super League, and it's looking pretty likely that they will, given that they look like they're possibly one of the two best teams in the championship at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got 2 of the 12 teams in Super League are from France.
Mm-hmm.
Should we be focusing on making France better to try and bring England up to speed?
I don't think it's a bad idea.
And I suppose the other thing then is, how do you do that from the other side of the world?
And that's the difficulty. It would be great if France every year was getting games or inbound teams that were like, Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa. They just need those games. They need those games on a regular basis. And to play them in France, I think, is a good idea too, because the trek down to the southern hemisphere, and all of a sudden they're playing in proper oppressive heat. I don't think it does anything for them.
No, we've got to play them in their conditions, and also by playing it in France, France gets a heap of money.
Yeah,
and they need it more than what the NRL does. I think the NRL that's one area where they can forego a bit of cash and say, you know what, we will take some teams, whatever they might be. They could take a city team. Or, how we used to have city versus country.
Yep.
Take a city and a country team over there and they can play a game over there. It could be things like that. Things that...
What about like an Aboriginal team or, I agree with you. Just have different things. Like, there's so many opportunities we've got in rugby league to do stuff like that. Like, I think it would be good for France if we, took a couple of nines teams over there and played like some sort of nines competition over there. I think there's a lot of things you could do. And, if you're spending time in southern France, it's not exactly the worst off season in the world, playing footy and doing all that sort of stuff. It'd be great.
And you could play a few games in Catalonia.
Yeah.
Because, that looks to be their next expansion market. So get over there and give that a massive plug. I don't know. I think there's more that Australia could be doing, and and not just Australia, but the entire Pacific region.
Yeah,
I think it's up to this part of the world to try and bring the Northern Hemisphere up a level. Because at the moment, if they keep just following whatever the UK is doing, it's just going to keep going downhill.
Exactly.
And France is coming up to the UK level, but I don't want that to be their ceiling.
No.
They should be able to go higher than that. They've got 2 teams over there in those English comps, and they're both going to be playing in the Super League pretty soon. If they get 2 teams in the Super League, should France be looking at getting a 3rd team into the championship?
100%. Like, my aim would be to have 4 French Super League teams. That's what you really want. And right now, that's a long way off. I understand that, but I want French Rugby League to be a driving force in Super League, and because it's going to end up then being a driving force on mainland Europe.
Yeah,
and that's a big key for Rugby League. I tell you what, in all of this, it'd be really nice is for the New Zealand Rugby League to step up and do anything at all to promote rugby league anywhere. Because I tell you what, I know I'm very harsh for the Rugby Football League, but the New Zealand Rugby League is the most useless fucking organisation in the entire rugby league playing world, and it has been for decades now. They do nothing for anybody. They're useless, completely useless. I think the NRL should take over running rugby league in New Zealand, and I don't think that anything bad would come of that. All you'd be doing would be replacing the most useless rugby league organisation in the entire planet.
Who would run it?
Well, the Golden Cock would.
God's father.
Yeah. Mr. Racehorse.
Mr.
Sunshine's out his ass.
Yeah.
Did you see he made savings of more than $50 million for Channel 9? It's great.
So that's going to be his next job, is it? He's running Channel 9?
Yeah, probably. It's the only place he's saved money on.
Oh, man. You know, everyone's loving it at the moment because the game's a bit quicker. It's only quicker for a little bit. Wait till they all review it and bloody trying to find loopholes and shit.
I liked the one game that was close.
Yeah. Yeah. It is crazy. I think we are going to start seeing quite a few more wide open score lines.
Definitely.
Which I can't think is a great thing for rugby league, but you know, we'll see how long the honeymoon period lasts.
Yeah, hopefully next weekend we get more than one close game. That would be nice.
That would be good. Who is playing next weekend?
Let's have a look at the draw for next weekend. So, first game that's up. It's lucky I'm on the NRL website. First game. Oh, no, that's too far.
It's Broncos versus Roosters.
Yeah, Broncos Roosters Thursday. They'd call out a blockbuster. I don't. And then Friday, Warriors versus Panthers. That'll be an interesting one.
Hang on, is Cleary back?
Didn't he get a 2-week suspension?
Did he?
I feel like it was a 2-week suspension.
Okay.
Because that TikTok video ran for a good 10 seconds. I think he got a week for every 5-second block.
And he was dancing.
Yeah.
And I think he had his hat on sideways, didn't he?
Kind of sideways, yeah.
That's fucking unforgivable.
Storm,
how he's still got a career, I don't know.
I know. Storm versus Rabbitohs is the 8 p.m. game on Friday. I think the Rabbitohs are going to get smacked in that one.
No way in hell are the Storm going to turn out the same performance as they did last week.
Yeah, exactly.
And we will see in that game proper exploitation of any rules that are going on in the NRL, I think.
It would be the Rabbitohs are going to have to do something, but it would be a really good test for the Storm against the team they should have the wood over, just to see how far they can push things.
They do in Melbourne. I don't think the Rabbitohs have ever won in Melbourne.
Oh, really? Ever?
Ever.
Wow, that's incredible.
Parramatta Manly, that is going to be good.
That will be a good game. Be interesting to see if Manly's form is true form or if they just played well because they were playing the Dogs. And the Eels, I mean, if they continue their form, red hot form, wow.
Yeah.
Mitchell Moses. How good is Mitchell Moses, Andrew?
Oh, mate. Next game is the Cowboys versus the Sharks.
I like any game where I can watch Jason Taumalolo play. So
for me, watching Jason Taumalolo playing against Wade Graham, I'm watching this.
Oh, that would be cool, hey?
My two favourite players at the moment in the NRL.
Yeah.
Outside of Benji Marshall, obviously.
Yep.
Canberra, Newcastle. I am expecting Canberra to do a number on the Knights, and I don't know why. I just think Canberra looked to be the benchmark team we had last weekend, and no one looks close to them.
They looked really, really good. They hit the ground running, which was great. I would be a little surprised if Mitchell Pearce is back because he was knocked out like I haven't seen a player knocked out for a while. They have a number of injuries. I don't know if Ponga's back for this round. He might be, but I'm not sure. But I would still tip the Raiders even if the Knights were at full strength.
Yeah. And man, there's some blockbusters on Sunday and Monday.
Oh, man, I can't wait for these two.
Titans versus the Tigers.
I know I'm falling asleep during this game. I just know it. Sunday afternoon footy with the Tigers. I don't know what it is. I always fall asleep and have the most beautiful sound sleeps. It's really weird.
I'm not surprised. Look, the Tigers should romp home in that one.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll say should. And then, man, we've got to wait all week for this. Wow. Bulldogs versus Dragons.
Yeah, the Mary Pay Cup. It's going to be a great one.
Now, there was a news story that came out today saying that McGregor's got 2 weeks to save his career.
Well, you know,
otherwise,
2 weeks isn't too bad, is it?
I learnt today in an article that he's on $750,000 a year.
What, ruples? That's too much.
So if they do decide to sack him in 2 weeks' time,
yeah,
and I think he's got the Sharks next week.
Yeah.
If they do decide to sack him, apparently the Dragons are going to have to foot a bill worth at least $1 million to get rid of him.
That's fucking outrageous, eh?
But that's going to be $1 million well spent.
Probably. Damn you, Todd Greenberg.
Who could be a worse coach for the Dragons to sign than Paul McGregor?
What's his name? The guy he's the talent person down there now. Ian Millwood.
Ian Millwood?
Yeah, 100%.
We've got to throw in there Matty Elliott.
I'd take Matty Elliott over Ian Millwood.
Would you take him over Paul McGregor, though? That silence that speaks volumes. How about Garth Brennan?
Oh, no, I'd take Garth Brennan for sure.
And obviously there's one bloke who's still looking for a job. I don't know why, and that's Jeff Tuvey. Dragons, call him, seriously.
Yeah, or even Hook.
Hook, yeah, why not?
Yeah, get him on the phone. Talk to him for 20 minutes until he's finished saying hello, and then give him a job.
Yeah, do something. Seriously, there's a few options there. Trent Barrett's also available in the Penrith lower grades.
Yeah, but take him, please.
He'd be better than McGregor.
Yeah, definitely. He'd be really good at putting those cardboard cutouts out right now, eh?
Which is more than McGregor can do.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, come on, Dragons. Seriously, you can't have a squad that looks that good on paper and play that dire.
Yeah, it's weird, and you know the players. What are they supposed to do? The game plan's shit. There's only so much you can do with that sort of game plan.
Do you know who would be a better coach?
Who?
It would be 1999 Tommy Raudonikis. I'll never forget his greatest plan when someone said to him, "So what's your game plan this week?" Tommy says, "I don't give one. If we don't know what the game plan is, how will the opposition know?" And at least that's got some variation in it that the Dragons currently don't have.
That's true. I remember him many years later saying he really regretted saying that. Especially in a season when they were historically one of the worst teams of all time.
They were being pumped every week by 40 and 50 odd.
Yeah.
And 60 odd.
It's kind of weird when you look through the worst teams of all time and it's like teams like University and stuff and it's that fucking Magpies team as well. It's like, wow, that shows how bad they were.
Yeah, they were bad. Well, there you go. We've done pretty well there for a quick episode. Must be almost 10 minutes gone now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we've almost done an hour. If you want to catch up with us on Twitter, people get involved in the conversation there. We're at Fergo Freak Pod. We're on Instagram. I think there's an actual picture went up on the Instagram feed today.
Oh, really? What of?
One of us wearing a heap of watches.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah, no surprises there who that might be. So yeah, you can check us out on Instagram, Fergo Freak Pod. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Go over there, subscribe, like all the videos. There's only 180 odd videos there. Go through when you've got about 3 hours spare. Open up every video and just press the like button.
Yeah,
you got nothing
every
better
single
to do.
one of them. Leave your comments too, like, "Wow, that was incredible! Oh,
great insight,
amazing,
yeah. Greatest ever."
Yeah,
and just press play on every video. You don't have to listen to it. Just press play and then turn the volume down and walk away and do something else. But just do that. That'd be sweet. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I've got a website, fergoandthefreak.com. Is that the one?
Yep,
Yeah.
fergoandthefreak.com. I believe you also have a website, do you?
Only a little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Rugbyleagueproject.org.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. It's only a little thing. It's just in its infancy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to be done on there. So, if anyone decides that they want, they've won a few $1 million in the lotto and they want to help out, with a website, just send a million over. That'd be sweet.
Well, good luck with that. Hey, it sounds like it'll be a nice little website when you've got that going.
Yeah, I'll be on that until I'm about 147, I think was the last analysis I did. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Hey, I've got a website too, eh?
Well, I was just going to ask. I thought, if I've got a website, then surely you've got one.
Yeah.
Well, you're a website guru.
Well, I'm a website address guru.
Compared to me, you're an absolute guru. So if I've got one website, you must have several.
Yeah, several.
At least several.
I've got one called leaguefreak.com. It's a egocentric ear bashing in which I try and annihilate the feelings of British Rugby League supporters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are they appreciative of your work?
Yeah, I think they are, They say things like, I don't read their entire emails, but they say things like, you're a fucking, and then I stop reading them, just saying champion and stuff like that.
That's what it would be.
Yeah. So I've got that. I've got NRLBreakingNews.com, RugbyLeaguePodcastingNetwork.com, and, they're the main ones. They're the main three.
Nothing to do with any other Super League teams? No news about them?
SalfordRedDevils.co.uk.
No, you would know that one.
NRLRumours.com, I own that one. RL World Nines, I own that one.
I feel inclined to say to people, just to keep you busy, I guess, for the week.
Oh, shit.
If there's any rugby league related URLs that you think League Freak should own, send them to him at League Freak on Twitter or at Fergo Freak Pod, and trust me, he'll get tempted. It'll be fun to watch, because then the next time I speak to him in like a few hours' time, he'll say, I've just bought a few more.
Seriously, don't. I get too tempted. You know what I'm like. I sit here and I'll be like, ooh, wow. Women's Rugby League World Cup information.com is available. I think maybe I should buy it.
I want to have kickassbabies.com is available.
Nathan Cleary, he's my boy.com is available.
I want to be Tormalolo's bitch.com. That's there.
Oh, shit.
See, we might be joking here, but I also know that in the background he's just gone to check to see if those things are available. That's how keen he is.
Yeah.
All right, people. I was going to say one last thing too, I guess, is you can donate to both of us.
Yeah.
And our work on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com League Freak.
Yep.
Or /League Freak, sorry. Patreon.com /League Freak, and you can donate. He's got some tiers on there, starting from $3 a month. Just donate a coffee to him. That's pretty much what you're doing there.
Yeah, just a coffee a month, and it all goes towards the websites. And also check out patreon.com/RL Project. All of your money and donations on RL Project go towards the digitization of rugby league's history worldwide.
Indeed it does.
It's fantastic.
And, any luck, we can get enough people doing that so that we can do our respective jobs on those websites.
That would be fantastic.
As a career.
Yeah, that would be great.
Which would then mean we'd be home all the time. So then Freaky could call me up daily and say, let's do another podcast episode.
Well, like I do now.
Yeah. But we'd be doing like 3 episodes a day instead of 3 a week.
That would be fucking cool.
People, how could you not want that? That's a selling point right there.
Yeah, get donating.
Get on it, people. And last, if you want to send us an email.
Podcast@leaguefreak.com.
There you go. Drop us a line there. We'll read them out if they're not too lengthy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we might try and frame an episode every now and then around emails.
Yeah, if it's a good one.
Yeah. And last but not least, go to your podcast, website where you listen to us and leave us a review there, especially if you're on app. Go to the Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review, and we'll read those out. We'll put them up on our website as well. We'll make you famous.
Exactly, because we just want to make all of you lot famous.
That's what you want. That's what we give.
Yeah.
So I guess with all that advertising done, was when you all go to bed.
Yeah, it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in for this quick 10-minute episode. It has gone for almost an hour.
That's good.
We could just jibber for 5 minutes if you want.
Fuck that.
All right. You people have heard enough. See you.